you want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
That is Elon Musk, and just a remarkable, stunning, eye-opening interview. One of the things he said that he didn't care if he loses money over inflammatory tweets that draw the ire of Tesla shareholders or Twitter advertisers. His interview made a lot of headlines, from his views on AI to his recent attacks on George Soros, and insisting that the mass shooter in Texas at that outlet mall who posted photos of large swastika tattoos is not a white supremacist. Watch this.
When you link to somebody who's talking about the guy who killed children in a mall in Allen, Texas, and you say something like it might be a bad psyop, I'm not quite sure what you meant, but
I'm saying that I thought the ascribing it to white supremacy was.
There's no proof, by the way, that he was not.
There's no. I would say that there's no proof that he is.
And that's a debate you want to get into on Twitter?
Yes. Because we should not be ascribing things to white supremacy if it's false.
You
The
basically.
city reminds me of Magneto. This is like, calm down, people. This is not like made a federal case out of it.
You also, you said he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and Soros hates humanity. Like, when you do something like that, do you
Yeah, I think that's true. That's my opinion. Really, you're going to work from home, and you're going to make everyone else who made your car come work in the factory. You're going to make the people who make your food that gets delivered, that they can't work from home. The people that come fix your house, they can't work from home, but you can? Does that seem morally right? I think it's very much a double-edged sword. I think there's a strong probability that it will make life much better, and that we'll have an age of abundance, and there's some chance that it goes wrong, and destroys humanity. Hopefully that chance is small, but it's not zero.
Let's bring in Kara Swisher. She has covered Elon Musk extensively since the late 90s, had many in-depth interviews with him. Her podcast is On with Kara Swisher, and also Pivot. Kara, I just think about your most recent interview. Hey, with Elon Musk, what was it, a little over a year ago, at such a pivotal time. What do you make of this one? And those are just some of the key snippets we played for folks.
Well, Dave did a very good job getting a lot of news out of him, except most of the news was nonsense, unfortunately, especially the stuff about the white supremacists and calling Bellingcat, which does a lot of interesting investigative work. Is it FISOPs or whatever?
PSYOPs.
He spewed a lot of conspiracy theories, whatever. Yeah. He spewed a lot of conspiracy theories. He made a lot of pronouncements on things. Calling staying home morally wrong, although I don't feel like we should be taking moral lessons from Elon, but okay. Essentially the guy who makes cars wants us to commute. Great. Thank you for that. I don't know. It was just bizarre. And sandwiched in between that was, some interesting ideas, but he seems to talk a lot now and spew on things that we shouldn't really be listening to him about. Although Dave did a great job, as I said.
He did do a great job. I was just thinking, do you think he gets away with a lot in terms of, just because so many people have dubbed him a genius, and I wouldn't argue with that. He's brilliant, but I don't know. I just feel like people don't hold him to the same standards that they hold certainly other CEOs to at all.
Well, a lot of people do. The companies he's involved with doesn't.
Companies,
He controls
shareholders,
most
boards.
of them, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they like being on the gravy train of Elon Musk, and until he doesn't make money for him, until he loses money, not just for himself and his other shareholders don't seem to care in the private companies, it's not going to matter. And of course, Tesla's been an enormous financial success for those holding its stock, although it's under a lot of pressure right now. He's still gonna be tolerated until that changes. And I don't know why it is with this particular person, because a lot of other people make a lot of money for people and don't behave like this.
Yeah.
But until we stop looking, he's going to keep doing this because he likes the attention.
Well, and Kara, to your point about what he said about the Texas shooter, which was essentially calling it BS, the links to white supremacy, even though the shooter had a swastika tattooed on him. The Texas Department of Public Safety has confirmed that they do believe he had these neo-Nazi ideologies that he had at least posted about. But you couldn't ignore Elon Musk talking about that, criticizing Bellingcat, which does great investigative journalism, but then his comment in a separate part of the interview that was unrelated, where he said, I want to say what I want, even if it loses me money.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Well, it's his money when he's losing it. And in regards to Tesla, it's shareholders' money, actually. But that's how he feels, and it is his money. And if he wants to do that, he can certainly do that. He's paying a lot of money for those views. Of course, he's just hired someone who's good at making money, Linda Yaccarino, and she's going to spend a lot of time pushing back his comments and, slowly diminishing her reputation, unfortunately. She has a terrific reputation in the ad industry. And so if you're trying to attract ads, saying someone who's wearing obvious Nazi tattoos doesn't have white supremacist views is unusual, I would say, and unusual for a CEO and leader. But he seems to want to do it, and he's willing to pay the price for it. And it's of course, his money. That we tolerate it, I don't know what we can do. Caitlin, I mean, what are we going to do? Tell him not to be so ridiculous? I think we do that.
Actually,
It
I
doesn't really
think
matter.
it's good journalism. I think it's accountability. I think it's like the interview you did. I think Dave Faber did a really good job with that interview. Because then you allow people to see who the person is, and then they can make their own decisions.
On some level.
Yeah.
Yeah, on some level, although some of this stuff gets, people who really believe it is, go Elon, say those things about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
There's a lot of arguments to be said that this continues to get into the bloodstream of the public, and it becomes, if he converts one person to thinking someone not, again, wearing swastikas seems to be an indication of white supremacist views, in my humble opinion, and I think most people would think that, including, as you said, Caitlin, the Texas Department of Public Safety.
Right. Thank you very much, Kara, getting up extra early for us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.